Once I see to me my nebre wo ho pa. What food program? We are man say you know ku ehwe aduane ho sam so e kire say the wiem sakraya ye ntino climate change ni ntino eba ma anuane ho sam no ebe ye den anuane ho e kwa twe pa anuane ho e ba be ye den na ka ne saa anaso mo ka ne saa na esan so mo ye ku ehwe wiase nyina ntino na ayam hihia baba bia o man ga na nso ye nso ye ka wiase ho bi nti esi ye nso ye yam hihie yen na nanse ba beto dwa se enuane ho nsam no hyeda nkoyie papa enti enuane ho eya kwatwe enuane ho eya yeden o man ga na mu a akwa ebe bibia ohu bi a ye nyina yam hihie yen pa enya simukuma akora na ba sa no na ho bi hia se UTV ye to nsa frem panifu ne bi so se me pa mchewo na se yesra mo na mo hwe enuane ho nsam so etisan ne ewurawura mu a na ne ewurawura mu ye nyakuani a ono wayen kane so afa be de akira ohwe kwawe ho nsam so na eneda ye ka sei ye ka ba fast talk bebia ye kora enuane nyina o ye board member eno akiri oye kuani a oduamo oye koko odua buro banche bode menkani ena bako ye ka ho ya yi atoside che sei bibia ye ka ye di bi no odua bi ena ono sa ye bofotene ofutufo kese edemo menso afohwe kwawe ho nsam so pene me boni din ayunyamfo George Boahen Oduro o menche oha ye wura kwa aba
yezo eja
bibia bokode
nyame adom
afishia pa
afigo
last year ne kasa na last 2 years
studio had last year
this
year me ma
na ma ha ntene ya ma afishia pa
fache me
anya hwe ye no so adwuma ne doso why ya dey poso nya brama ye beda wase pi magina impanyifo na mada wase say wasa wo mre na ni bedi nkomo me pa cho ye wura odama ye nuane ho nsam ko say manga na mu
yo me da wase na ma chia mo tifo no mahwefo nyina bebi anya media bedu aso my Ghana de ye nuane sem de ekuyi ye ni problem wa kura do ho ato asem ozi ne wadidi mpre nan na ge nuane sem nkoyi a se ga odimi ni di mpre
minum diso mpre no
enti wudi ka se iwiase world food program for say nuane ho ya ba de no kura ho ne se climate change na wakan no Ghana akwa ohwe a rainfall pattern asesa
se ne nsi
June July ene nsu topa ba sisi am no gase uze August September na eto good enti ye de se 1 to 2 niema ya ena sa se wo ho be kiro ana aduan ho sem no ebeto memo example from last year March ena mfa se pandemic ba e covid say ye call lockdown from March na ye call lockdown wa ba be see Christmas be see ne Ghana ni bay anase ho na wo eja kwabran wonim na osibi kutesika me kodwom me to banche me to moku me to emo me to bayire me to mankani a wanya bianto
me hu bi da
e bi si ye enti aduane se Ghana de nyame di kan e hire dada e na ban wosu yi a na na adodan kwakufu ado edi animu a Dr. Usu Efri Akoto orzo hwe ekuadwuma so no eniema omodi tutu ye ni niema ehihye eniti enuane de se Ghana ye kwa ahokyire mu aduane se mu de enye no kreda ebi so ensi efise minim enhihye a aban enam Dr. Usu Efri Akoto so ya hihye efi covid nim eni afi we nyina ye kwa enim nyina ehihye no chese ekom ana aduane de enya de be yira Ghana no efise ahwe na ehwe enuane so no ye ne ye boa ama akuafo nsakan niema esese omdidi omudwuma no na ban ba no so be ka from 2017 aban de program na for the planting for food and jobs ye selecting no bai bia on say ekrobia na oma bia no staple food a oma ba bia dibi anase Ghana amfanse say was 16 regions uko regions 16 mu a obia di say no bai ni bi ebi ne banche mode eburo sa miensa we e de ba bia ewo ho the planting for food and job ye select staple food a Ghana ye di pa na e ba say ye hu adwuma na mdi ka kire no fiti lockdown no abisi ne a ye kwa animu obie no Ghana ha obetima ka say okutise akudwo nkopɛ aduane bi atɔ a ne nsa anya dai anka bi
okay
nti sɛ aduane sɛ deɛ
yeni how
as ɔman Ghana deɛ yeni how kra
menim sɛ yɛyɛ yɛtatɔ aduane bi kɔtɔ banku bi a yɛka no ozone bi na ɔka banku na yɛfita ba yɛsɛ sɛ ne yɛ banku na kɔ yellow corn ana yellow ɛyɛ yellow corn asɛ de yɛkra fi amana ne ba Ghana
da bi meka sɛ mekura mpo no 2017 April ɛna mehu sɛ yellow brody obi yellow corn de white na Ghana ha no yellow no eno potifo na to no more pa ɛna ye chiche plant for food and job we start here no na ye che seedlings it is a seed na makuafo no me ye de meto central na western it be called central region ekuro bi so no mka je say seed ni e de abre omo no white ni dross sen yellow no enti ye mefa white no nko na white ni ye obo ti techima BA side omo pe white no no mo de omo pe yellow ni sen white no na me say ade no so ya me hwe mfante doko no mo ton ya mansa ni side ni nyina yellow no mo de mo de ye enti yellow me ebro ni omo de yellow ene ye wo white ni nyina wo de bia eyeye ba potri for de ya no mo pe yellow more esen white no nduko tai banku ana koko na wo say yellow ana white pepepe boni bi anim
yo na ye kan ye nuane ho asoma ye kan no ye hwe bibi ti se bayere ene menkani ne bode no wo hwe ni production level se de kwafo do ho magimo ye no a ko se de se ko no
mama ma example bi adwuma kase ba kopa Dr. Uzo Free Akutu waye me no de share me sa eye bayire ni menkani ni bode na aka no o se ni nyina perishable goods se ututu ho a na se wo de gu ho a enche na ase sisi a me no ka se o me di project bi ma KNUSC Department of Agriculture se o mu hwe bayire wo ye dugu utu digu ho a se be ebe che amaye a fi no mu aye ni nyina awie na agya komra mekura eye me hwanwa se o mo ye adwuma no ma aya akono to the sense bayire no yitu a wo se minim se oni nimu a ye opona ye obayire pa ye odabreko ye wo bayire bebere
kuku ase bayire
nyina sese afase sese no omo aya me hu se utu bayire nyina ebia baypa eno edi 1 month na start say ebia pona ebedi 2 months afase ebedi 4 months enti sese varieties o bayire mu nyina o ma me hu a ye be kwakuafo na so na kire om to obi odo pona na baypa ni ye ko kire om se we na utu a ensese odigu ho manu du da sei o se woton enti obi o so odua ni nyina no otu ni nyina be kire nse ton we di ka ton we the way enche na ton we ni di so kosi de beti mego e di bible suminsia na abosom wotwe adwuma kese ba ko a me ko ministry aban we aye anasa Greek minister aye mani agye ho pa ne ba ko no KNUSC for na ye agric engineering
bon we yes
omo na de sa aduwe mo e de bode ne banche ene ma omo ba omo wie bayire aka bode ndom se hu sem kana de ba omo guso a omo ye ba bayire ne de omo wie and in fact national buffer stock kura no e se omo mpanya hye se yemfa bayire enka greens na eto e de ma schools no in this is our program ya make catch you no aboa me hu se ekoto bayire e de abeka buffer stock ni ma no ho a
e be bayire potin
se ye to ene ebre a e wo se ye de Emma school for.
Honorable, we home so am kakran mako nua honorable ba kontun chen. Ye kom na shebedwemu a ranking member select committee on agric honorable Godfred Sedu Jasao MP 1 East wa homa no so na NDC for na shebedwafo de bi ade atodwe echem se e kame ese duane ho ya kwatwe kakra na omuso mu kokobu bi aba ya adwentoato de ye nyina ye ntie nya na homa so ye ninu nkomo tiawa na fe hwe yewra UTV so na ma wadwo.
Good evening, UTV. Me treating Shedan ye papa ba me bono 2x4.
Na tie utwi ya wo kan ye se me be si me be ma wa akonwa wo mapo akua prem we say twi na e de pa.
Oh, you somebody am I actually.
We da say one abo ye da say so wonya brema ye na anadwi wadama mo say aduane ho be ko be ko atwe kakra na say aduane ho be ye na kakra de na mo ahu a e bia ye tie ye hye dan hu ye a mo pese mo ne ye che
We actually the credit we share medical chair madam for Honorable George Odro waka a call climate change any CDA aduane available to us. Wow. We share the canwa. Yes, true say there was potential food security crisis. And now we share food security now. The Honorable Eka is talking about availability. Or see, Uko James is here, ultimately by ultimately board, the ultimate nyoma. But what the Honorable didn't talk about is the prices that you are buying these foodstuffs at. Okay, just do a cursory look at the news running in the last 3 weeks. It will tell you that food prices have been going up. Let's say, a dragon ball, a costro. I didn't think a costro. Simple demand and supply argument will tell you that supply is likely to be on the decline. And in price no back high. Okay. Now, if you and to say Uka food security, you need to talk about physical and economic access to the food at all times. So, any good for Honorable George Odro to conveniently leave himself to food availability. That's not good enough. And the Maya and Dada Ghana for. Okay. Then number two, Usha this year in particular, and then last year, agricultural sector group was about 4.6% of GDP. Now, in economic terms, you're describing as the most resilient sector. Even in spite of COVID now, but okay budget now, debate in March now. You make argument say government and shed and fast at the Bulubia agri sector to be sure to ensure that the continuous food production now achieving and the planting for food and jobs now. A bet twice so akko. Yewura Agri Minister Ankasa while reporting the Planting and Food and Jobs Program started 2017, and that offer made a production from 1.8 million metric tons, and the production now across drew 3.4 million metric tons. But when you are the IAP to say, Adriani now what you are producing, Adriani no working. Because just about a month or 6 weeks ago, what for poultry farming challenges were one facing in accessing maize. So say maize a Kruwa cocoa bowl was 2.5 Ghana cedis. To say for the same quantity of cocoa bowl is about 10 Ghana cedis. Then so maize no cry, maize no ever market no top. Wow. And so what they are looking here, then you go back to the very crisis facing this year. One of it was Obiati. Say, northern sector, you have one cropping season, you have one greening season. And a period now, you be producing crops, I am very shocked. And so when some cut inputs now, I say when using any production now, at the hard drink. And what is a government the suppliers on fertilizer supplies for last year. The Ministry of Finance, they don't release money. We pay for extra suppliers for them to release fertilizers to our farmers this year. And to the delay in release of fertilizers, affected crop production to a very large extent for most cereal crop farmers across the northern sector. And also near food basket of this country when it comes to these cereals. Now, unfortunately, Minya, for 3-4 weeks ago, what that he said, climate change is so tall, in most aspects, in most locations in northern sector. And even the struggles we struggle to get the few fertilizers, etc., to a formula, we also have a formula, whether it's virus, it's rice, a mo, or a group. Well, and see, our problem is that even the production you are talking about, the land, you are showing the pictures now, Minya. The land is bare, the crops have been taken away. And to say, by harvesting season, are you going to harvest soil? No, crops don't now harvest. And into my head, caution said, it's better we all admit that the country is facing serious challenges in the cropping sector. And to make sure that this potential food crisis, we can avert.
And so now, I didn't also say, yeah.
Now, Usha, one important organ government has created is the National Food Buffer Stock. And I'm happy that Honorable George Odro sits on the board there. But Honorable George Odro will tell you, say Professor Mills was 30 National Food Buffer Stock. And almost 50 million Ghana cedis in 2009. Up to date, government of Ghana capre and call international food buffer stock again. And see, the twin objectives are the 30 national food buffer stock. No fair. So you're producing Juanino. Buffer stock into call to the market, to the farm gate. Not tough Juanino free farmers no at a minimum guaranteed price, so that farmers don't lose. But buffer stock can now take the stock and save some, stock them as a buffer. Now some so won't hold it temporarily. Check prices, check location of food, potential shortages. Shortages will come here, then and prices are going up. Now buffer stock are releasing, maize are go. Then it can stabilize the prices and make sure supply number one for the market. If it's in Accra, it will do the same thing. But unfortunately, in Dominion, buffer stock have had to compete with all other businesses in Ghana for the same commercial bank rates of loans. And they are looking for where they will invest it and get the most profit. They are not interested in saving or stocking as a national security buffer. And to say new Sana, then it means that the logistics of food circulation will be threatened. And also where a management problem. And accept that this is a challenge we need to confront as a country. But when we make the call, in all honesty, then the managers of the agri sector, instead of agreeing with us and we're all thinking of what to do now, then they keep on doing these titata and catching corners about the truth. So yes, at the end of the day, crisis is no better in our country. Nature say because the truth is that my brother, fertilizers no
Amantem.
It's also abesisa and home So where is the food coming from?
Say mususu say enso ye to ye any fertilizer na amantem ni ti na maduan ho be ye den no ana.
It's part of the reason. The other one is the management arrangement of how you deal with the value chain of the agri sector. And to your producer, first of all, who's a planning for food and jobs, an elaborate program. It talks about seed supply, it talks about other input supplies. Now, the problem has always been, and I don't know why the Ministry of Agri will not admit it, and then all of you, including the media, to make sure that the Ministry of Finance, next year or whenever it's there, they release monies in good time for them to help our food security, our food sector.
Okay.
But they keep arguing and you pretend that everything is all right.
Okay.
You didn't get the money to pay your fertilizers.
Okay.
You didn't get the money. So the fertilizer didn't come. But I was saying.
o ma kra da ben
Say flood no na me boa me victims or constituency. But
Okay.
nyame adoma bedroom Monday no nyame adoma na maba.
me pa chopi me gina madwuma wura no ma na mu ato nsa frɛ so ba pɛ bra Hawaii ana ma me hu na me mehwɛ na me ntwe mra ha ni nkomo
Na me twi ni de ya ma o.
na bebre ba waka me se me ukodi hene wo ma po akuapem so ate
Ayo ba ti.
me da sipi we de eye britie mu ade yo na ye to nsa de frɛ na so waje ye so ni nyina aka ho se na be yo man no betumi akɔ na ndi titiro anuane ho nsam de ho hia yie papa enti pani a ye ne na edi nkomo de fa saa anuane ho samsami a sesia ye frɛ no eye ononyamfo Godfred Sedu Jasao wono eye MP edema Wa East na ono eye ranking member deputy ranking member Agric honorable
Yes sir.
Utie ne samo kan ye no a o kan se bi se fertilizer no wo mo ede ba no ye nti o mo ka aduane ne bo na o de hyase e na fertilizer no e na fe sika se ede ma buffer stock for no ye fa ma o mo nti no they are competing with other wo mo nipa ku ahodo pre busia o bank na sefo nti ye fa ne bo no e na fe fertilizer ne sika na nko no e ne de aka no
Or started say aduane ne bo or say the availability is not good enough. So no kan. Ma o me na nyame ase say availability na dey.
e wo ho na mo good enough na nka
Good enough. I say itia ye aduane dey dey e wo ho. Na bo no na dey e ko so ne problem no ana me bo a. O sa ka bium say o ka say du be go say aburo kra no unya bi ye dey ento. Minim baby a okowe bro a wonya bi ba sisi is opa bro a
benya bi
onko Techima market. Techima maize market is the biggest maize market in West Africa. A bro dudu bi na opa onya
ana I for cotton farmers issue
a bona sebuna me beka hona me ba be chechiro mu osaka bibi say Professor Mills na ye buffer stock and omo 15 million
2009
right now also who say National Buffer Stock, a limited liability company.
anya ban die
And yet, I bind their wholly owned, but they don't depend on a bind. Until they can go to the market, to the bank, and look for money and operate as any organization.
Okay.
Into a limited liability company. Also, no, as I say, Buffer Stock for right now, Buffer Stock, they have 1,300 aggregators. So omo adwumaku a nipa ya register omo a omo na ekoto eko farm gate koto to nuane ne ede bre Buffer Stock eno so se on hye ho no so
okay
na wo ka bibi se fertilizer no amantem na ensuato Ghana ha you will two planting seasons. You the northern sector and the southern sector. Southern sector ha no start eduane mu from February, March, April, May, June echo. Now northern sector now start here July, August, September. Sisia me no ka say southern sector ha. Ghana ha omo mu ye maize greens kese pa no southern sector na transitional zone ho no. Adwura se choduma se Techima Kintampo area ho. Sisia omo ye harvesting. Na drought na ba na o say no kura ana o say se omo cars mo say e ba agree with them no. Na ye daily direct ana o kan. Say yet omo amne say ye kan omo asem a di mpunto be mo man a ye omo yi amanyoso nye dey in free. Ebian say o ka say food availability is not enough. Nyame ado betima ko man bi so a ukutesika kro aduan go dey uhu bi. By the aduan no ho ubenya bi. Fertilizer some working. COVID by fertilizer asad now no ye no Ghana enye enough. Do na ye kra. Omo e kra fertilizer no. Now say now many agrochemical dealer bi kasa ye man fertilizer supply ni bi. O kra 40-liter container they were paying $4,000 per container. Sisi a me no kasa e ye 12,500.
I know your freight ana
Freight nkwao.
omo de ship
We have 40-liter ba ku fi China. E dey ba Ghana no. Na utua $4,000. Ene. Move from $4,000 to $12,500.
200% increase.
It is a one now kofa sa BBC dey aba. E dey na be. obviously it will affect the price no e ho na was NDC for so omo do omo ni hwe say e be a problem be aba fertilizer ho a aha ne fi mo fan shaban because omo nim omo nkofo no bebre di fertilizer adwa yi bi omo nkofo no bebre di kwa adwuma yi bi it is a problem aba a ono ye ranking member yi odim etika bi po a ombeji data bi ana ombehu agric minister minister say na e koso di e be ne dan na as oman ma no ye nyina ka mo pe solution wo de wa kota baabi e na manusem no kro na da ho no obese obeka sisi amene o ka say Ghana ha this year alone this year fertilizer ministry of agric has supply this year nko a 213,588 metric tons and we ministry of agric under the planting for food and job subsidy and the open market omaton 114,046 metric tons e di fertilizer aba oman this year nko 327,634 metric tons for the major season. Ghana your southern sector your major season and your minor season. This year because of drought no any rainfall partners no upa year was make us a transitional zone so we harvesting. Now minor season they almost doing double what they did the major season because they name delay no. They say fertilizer is there. Emi they say one can say fertilizer na there asa and I say bia ebi ni ho. Fertilizer dia supply se see am de mawe. O hear statistics na a bro I expected from the first major year what southern sector and one is about 1.8 million metric tons. And more 1.624 metric tons paddy no and soya 327,000 metric tons. It is well when quite enough ma country no but we the major season minor season my I feel a minor season beba I said a northern sector almost why you harvest no December January
so when so good and so yira form we
I no tell so na kono seed enuaba e di dua no mama mo statistics bi seed that e di dua e bro name this year seed that ya supply farmers 11,289 metric tons yi nko and they just say ya supply ye jai ye guso air supply eti baby ensuo to a problem ensuo na they are now going to plant fortunately ensuo no rainfall na part asesa njafikwa na ye ebeto emu ceilings a che 16,382 metric tons a ye guso ye de ma akuafo eti emi de say o man ga say komabo no msi nesia e kombeba and I make sounds make just say we are see world food program say e come almost expect say e come beba but me catch us say 1 to 2 niema ya
and e come
beba
me dan say
but niema aban we di agu form series ya chama akuafo fertilizer di ama akuafo aye gusu san de ma wo mo ahwefo no asesa egusu to no yes ade mo mo no e come ana aduane e be so to Ghana de ebi mada
ona bo maba so na we de ye nkọ na ye ne Edward ye Karewi ni din no se Karewe aha Karewe de mpacho facha me original secretary de ma General Agricultural Workers Union we din no bu na mu se pen bibia boko de
No, it's all fine. My name is Edward Karewe. You are right.
Yo me pacho na ho te say
No, it's fine. How are you too?
Awurade ado me ho ye pa I had a catchy, obetumi.
No, I would just like to be very eloquent in the English to make my point.
Very clear, and to me, catchy.
Yeah.
Then, if I may ask, what are the challenges with fertilizer supply to farmers in the country?
Well, the challenges of fertilizer supply to farmers in the country is well known. The time that the farmers needed the fertilizer, it was not available. And we were told by the Minister of Agriculture that there was shortage of fertilizer because they were owing the suppliers of the fertilizer for the previous season. So when we are told they have that they have now supplied the fertilizer. Application to or on the farms if the time for of the fertilizer is due, and you do not apply the fertilizer, and you later on apply the fertilizer, you are not going to that you would have got. I know because farmers are, if you apply the fertilizer, it's not free. So you will not get to apply fertilizer only to have output. It's not commensurate with the cost that can be paid. So the fertilizer, if it is available now, it's better output because the farms that have not had fertilizer certainly will not. You don't expect the desired output from them. So because there was no fertilizer also, some of the farmers decided to also cut down the number of acreage that they were ready to do. That's one. Then the other thing too is that because there was lack of fertilizer, if an acre requires 5 bags of fertilizer, because there was no fertilizer and the person has got about 5 acres, he will not apply all the 5 bags on 1 acre, but rather try to apply less than that, 3 bags on the 1 acre in order to cover more acres. What it means is that at the end of the day, the total output from each acre will be low because the needed amount of fertilizer to be applied was not applied. So all these things put together, there is no way out. One will rationally say that all other things being equal, output will be as we expected it, or it will be like last year.
According to the ministry, they've supplied an amount of fertilizer to farmers. It wasn't their fault just because the prices in the international markets has also increased. Do you think that is maybe another reason why they could not be able to provide enough for farmers in the country?
Well, that reason is a belated. It's a reason. It's an aspect. Go to graphic 16th July graphic on front page. The Minister for Agriculture said that the market for food and jobs program was struggling for survival. And he then gave his reason. The reason he gave was that the government was not able to pay fertilizer supply for the previous year. And because of that, they refused to supply fertilizer for this year. He also indicated in that particular report that some of the fertilizer suppliers manufactured it using their own resources for the bank. Some have also gone to take them from the banks, import fertilizer, and the banks were chasing them for their money. They never indicated to us that it was because fertilizer price at the global market was high. That was why they were able to buy it or to buy enough for the market. So what they are telling us today is an afterthought. And it is not the main reason. It could be a general reason. It could be a reason for the future, but not for this year. They never gave that one as a reason. So what the ministry is telling us that because of global market of fertilizer, which is high and the rest, is not a reason that they gave us.
Hello. I'm saying the line no article near Yeni Ura Edward Caraway. Did Caraway? Honorable, what's your name? Some more kind. I just say, fertilizer do baby na do a some saka no send to me enka. I know can be. It is all this fertilizer bag back on a year 1 acre. A sense of fertilizer and sent to me and on the 1 acre a year 2 acres. And you know, and children to me and few more so na mantem. And na a cocoban is signing as for a known children be
so a Caraway, so a great workers union, the union secretary, whatever president. Sengamene no kura anka me bomb nsem amana na adran kokufu and Dr. Uzo Efri Akoto. Unim why? Aden no ka say yenya fertilizer 2012 13 14 15 2016 what is say farmers case omunya fertilizer. It is because our ban we buy I was started planting for food and job. Our ma fertilizer ma farmers you omo there omo say bo mo dwuma no enti na omo ani age a oka fertilizer na 2021 and oka fertilizer sem say short and omo anya ne ntem ni ade 2017 2018 2019 2020 what TVB sir enti na make us NDC for omo transfers o man dey share where the problem is. So 2020 2021 year omo so say omo anya fertilizer ne ntem no a COVID na buy na me say one the international market no cost both the commodity and the freight and na price na oka say supplies ni bi o government dey do omoka fair enough and as see market just say this year alone fertilizer was 60 no more abai kwa for sakan 327,634 for the first quarter busane say no kre ana anya no kre the immediate say beginning no the southern sector na omodie na amantem say no the fertilizer is available on my date we say July something na Jacobra enra oba me fia be srem mu akono adi nam so ebi ne ho na say na ewia 2 o'clock my first be gemu a je say enra am ka say ebi ne wonti no na ebi ne ho tenye ne kan no there were challenges say the minister can but say ya reason for fertilizer is available now and the mama figures it busa say fortunately for us me ma 2 planting season say northern sector omo plant the crop later as at now you can say north omo guso aye area and now the fertilizer is available in the car we hono and also this say oh eche and I say earlier this year no and go say yenya but a delay now the typical example say because say to say the honorable Odi Kaka say aduane ni wono 2016 ye kra 2015 sorry ye kra Broba Ghana omemra was 113,000 metric tons and at 2016 ye kra 70,000 metric tons and at 2017 ani abapower no ye kra 40,000 metric tons but first quarter of 2018 be seen ye kra Broba Ghana bi this year tama fertilizer ni delay no poultry farmers ni bi na as omusu kakra by minister or say omo permit na nkrebu if you say obe krebu about Ghana she's oba minister for agriculture no amount permit minister say no ebro no ebi wo ho and so ni board or say no problem omo 4 companies permit me di mumudin baku so farms omo na permit so onka 40,000 metric tons. Second one then their association be omo 20,000 metric tons. Mills so limited 25,000 metric tons and now something Ghana limited 20,000 metric tons so mon krama Ghana Assad today obi antima for ba krama ade Mills no and otimi di mo say 15,000 buy
ade to mo to be farmer
o international market wa na hwe bo na ho no na wo kra na obi yi wo Ghana ha no a wo compare Ghana ade nkwase ne board no efosen eno
honorable mami sasembi omen eyoman ayo asase wo
yes
ensesa nke so aduane ho kra
na say yesu ye NDC foru na won mo se na na wusi ozu adidi mpre na
mpre me se me ndu so mpre nu ye wasase yasase ye
me medidi mpre nu
sa ho yasase ye bibia odwa bibia na tumi ye
very good
obetifi mantem bagreda me omu bia na de ohawa ba ye se be irrigation o ene be ye wuyo ade na ye ntumi ye betumi aye mamisa ye bre no kra so kra nso ade na se ye so man ene manimu ya de na ye tumi nya se all year season e betumi aduaba afimu ni nyina aban bi aba ene be irrigation mokra misa moka one village one dam ena sefo na se ade na ato siniti a age se ehwe wiem asa etumi ade se ye
hwe Jacobra onyankopon ena wuntimi question no de esese ye asoman ena Dr. Usu Afiri Akoto one na ado dan kokofo omo ye no so obekaya 20 Usamika say dey Krebru ba Ghana ho since 1986 first quarter of 2018 ejaye 2018-2019 yenya stable price ebro for 40 farmers won dey ebro dwebe ne busa omo e dey planting for food job ne dey ba no kakra but miso udimi nkwahye nyankopon almighty covid ba last year no and the impediments kakra be ade aba it be catch us even kura no yempo de e hihye pa oman no hihye enti no another president ne Dr. Sofri e hihye no even from the lockdown from March April abc ene am no ka say obi so kakra bu e man no pem so kakra o njimi ankra e che say oman no ye okay in terms of Ghana ha ye aduane de na Nigeria ni Benin ni ade kwa say they fall on us somewhere October November last year this year you see tutu enema bi a saa mo be follow us ye nye bi and I say you see hihye enema say de be ya omo ntimi kra menya bi nto ye ni problem e wo aduane ho de na esese ye anam je so de esese ye ene ye fortunately e kosura yesu obi nkrebro figure si na companies ni na me pese me bobo ahia mo be ma me invoice
makamama company Ghana Limited no kamama invoice fa
ze di na ngasa na ba enie omo ntimi ankram e che se ye de no kura se e bo no so no fine mimi say se la menyi ntum e wo so kakra but ukwama no ni dwa so a e wo so che
Ghana na aso na ye se na be ya aburo no ye betumi nya dodo a poultry farmers benya na ne bo no so betumi stable dia ma ye
the year no 2018-2019 no se nye covid ne ba 2020 na ba na ka form kra be no ba e no e be slow down and this year 2021 for the first quarter of first season me dey kakache won say major season ya must see the total 31,823 metric ton for first major season. The whole of last year you must see 29,000. This year I see the supply no I see the last year there. So why is NDC for data no say e come back next year no onko fafi well ye mompa say afim come na matimu dama next year emetu enyina ogana ni he say come be ba bibia ma ehunhun ane politics eno omo ye omo nwina oman no
omo say aduane ho ade esansa bi no kura kan kwala mo ka say school mo kura na aduane ni ho
school
aduane no ho ha emo ho ayedin e wo schools eburo ho ayedin e wo schools schools bi say no kwada no gari no mudi na so for sana
eya kwaba say uko Brazil escafo pa gari eno mudi Ghana ha ena udi gari ye o say bia service bibi no me restaurant bi o palace Sprinters ho omu ye gari photo on friend gari jollof me kwano no wa fufu gari ma mini gari ye aduane papa ena obie ni school bie ni Ghana ha udi gari Monday Tuesday gari Wednesday entisa so omu hwe nhihye papa e kona covid ne ban no the kindness for nkwa command GSM but amanisa enam hihye papa na o school mami school pa wo say me ka say bo ba fast talk school bi so mu ni aduane ye koya aduane wo warehouse o me fa head mistress ne catch re say o ntimi ntuka e fa me fa aduane no
na ka no mu obi de
omu ni bi say so o say nya time na this aduane gu kam e de koma omo suban we anywhere fa school ben say o say na de chin say school we anu aduane and see that aduane wo kroma wine me na madi konkwe ma say di banku unim konkwe
ye tia de bo
very good that chinka fam na tell na madi bi ma say di banku
na look am no di bi ba de ona we de be say en komo na de na so ka me se bre no wo ma kasa gumasom say ja wan hwe be yi wa firi so ya me ya party bo sha be na o de sha Ghana for 1 minute
de me de sha Ghana for no say coffee na buy na e manema e kofom kakra ba nyame adom ehihye papa o mampanyin na adan kwakufu ado ono Dr. Usu Afri di atofo mfa aduane wo no ye na ye hwe aduane so ye hwe seed enuane edidua a ye di ama akuafo ene feliaza de amom na nasia na afie be si animi NDC for say kom baba no meme ne omo to nchia Ghana for obi anka na komanto nem enya de a ekom ana aduane wo be kwa atwe o Ghana ada
na ne bo no so be ba fam
ebo no be ba fam so hwe production na e do so to the sense ebe me enya stable price to say the 2018-2019 yenya ye no
yo nti aka bosome bɛyɛ baako bɛyɛ sempo na afena kɔ na wieye boso bɛyɛ miɛnsa nti yɛ no muso ntwɛn pɛ ɛnyɛ saa
pɛpɛpɛ
na yɛ fa ntwɛn 2022 na yɛhwɛ sɛ aduane no ɛho sɛm bɛkɔ sɛn nsɛm yi ɛyɛ nsɛm ɛho hia yɛ kan ɛnyɛ sɛ bɛ yɛ ka ma obi yɛ ka ma ban bi yɛ ka ma party bi na mo yɛ ka ma ɔman Ghana deɛ bɛboa na ɔman atumi akɔ n'anim deɛ bɛboa ama atumi nya aduane adi na yɛsɛ yɛ ka ho asɛm na ɔkan yi no ɔkan sɛ aduane ho hyɛ dan yɛ de nti schools ahodoɔ no ɔmo ne di sɛ paper chow so yɛ head mistress wo yɛ headmaster na so nim sɛ ɔhaw bi saa wɔ hɔ a mɛmfa nhyɛ wo ho ma yɛhu ne ntam ne yɛnka ebi asoro sɛ ɔbɛka wo deɛ woka kyerɛ me deɛ mɛka na afei atumi aboa ma yɛmma no atumi nya aduane pɛ de school mu hɔ na yɛmatumi akɔ yɛ sɛ ho anidi yie a adwene kora ntumi nya adwuma na otumi atwerɛ sɔhwɛ atumi atwa nti yɛbɛsrɛ bibi ɔbaabi a momie so ne yɛka so a wɔn mu ɛsɛ ɔmo gye tum sɛ bi adeɛ ne nkɔ yie no yɛnka no kora mfa nkyerɛ yɛn ho sɛnɛ bɛbɛtumi abɔ ne nyinaa aka bom apagya ɔman no amena do baabi ɛsɛ etumi ɛkɔ moma yɛfa seda ɛma odunyafo George Boahin Oduro ɔyɛ soafo bi de kyira nka ne soafo bi de kyira ɔhwie kura ho nsɛm so no no kura sisi ɛkasa yi ɔyɛ no yɛ futufoɔ de ma soafo hwɛ kura ho nsɛm so Buffer stock nso ɔsan ɛyɛ board member ɔyɛ kuani a wɔdɔ bibia kame ɛsanka nipa kora yɛdua nka obetumi adua bi nanso nipa yɛ ndua nipa nti ɛno de ntumi nnua bi Edward Karewe wɔno nso ɛyɛ general secretary yɛ general agriculture workers union yɛ ne kasa ofon so ɛna afei onunyafo Godfred Sedu Jasao ɛyɛ wa isimrahye badwani so yɛ ne kasa ofon so ɛfa ekuayo ne nuane ho samsam so nti no so baabi a obi a onim sɛ kɔ a wo so betumi ahu ne nyinaa nti asɛ bɛka ne agya bi brepam de bɛto sa afrɛ mpanyifo ne no matumi di nkɔmɔ adafo yɛ nuane ho samsam medin ɛde agya kwabna da mo nyinaa asema mo ne hwɛ ho ayɛ adom a yɛbɛhyia yakra mo ama mo de yie